Hi, and welcome to the sixth video in our PowerShell Universal for Beginners series. In the last couple videos, we've seen a bunch of different ways to create routes that accept either a variable in the URL, query string, or a body. Now, we did all of those with the get method. Now, one thing about using a body is that is typically not recommended with the get method. Typically, even if you're fetching information, if you're using a body, this would typically be used with the post method. So in this video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking a look at all the different route methods that we have available to us in PowerShell Universal that are commonly used and how we can modify a route's method that is used and how we can actually go about making those changes and how it works. So let's go ahead and let's go into our endpoints here. And we're going to notice all the routes that we've created in the last couple videos. So we have the first get route, which was just listing users. So it had no real variable entry by the end user that's using our route. It will always list the exact same users. Then we had a get method with a variable in the URL, which was specifying the username. So if we want to get a specific user, we can specify that in the URL. And then we also had another get method, which had a query string. So we were able to put in different variables into the query string and get the resulting users from that search. And then most recently, we created a get method that used a body to fetch users. And we can actually go ahead and look at that in our Visual Studio Code. We can see that we have a body and we have the get method, and it does in fact work, which that is completely fine. It does work. It's just not the best practice. Using a body with the get method is definitely designated as more of a bad practice, as most people don't expect to have to put in a body into a get method. So let's go ahead and let's actually update that last route to be a post with a body. So let's go ahead and let's just edit the properties here on our endpoint. And we're just going to change this method here from get. We're just going to click on the little X here, and we're going to change that to post. And then we're going to click on OK. And now it's going to show endpoint saved. Now, one thing that you're going to have to keep in mind if you're doing this, this will work. So if we go ahead and we go into our Visual Studio Code, we change our method to post, and we hit run, it will actually work. Now, the one bad thing is if we actually put this back to get here, we will also see that it also works. So the old method does still work. So you will have to go back to your PowerShell Universal, and there's this little button here at the top right-hand side that will say Restart APIs. You're going to want to click on that. It takes a couple seconds to run. And then if we go back into our Visual Studio Code, you're going to see that the get method now, we get a 404 not found. And we can put the post back in here, and it's going to actually work, and we can actually see that we get our resulting data set back. Now, one thing that you could do, because we had set this to get user body, you can actually put this back to get user. Now, the only thing that you will notice is we do have a get with the get user route, which is via query string, and then we would also have a get user route with the post method. So the get and post would actually return something for that user. So if we actually go ahead and just do that here, let's go edit properties. Let's remove this body here. So now we have two routes that are get user. So if we go back and let's just actually hit restart APIs. It's something that I always recommend. As soon as you make a change to the API URL or a API method, restart your APIs, and this way you're just going to be sure. And now if we go ahead and we edit this URL, we can see that we still have it on post. If we hit run, we get the results. And if we change that to get, we will actually see that we get our custom error message that we've inputted as please enter only the first and last name or only the employee ID. And that's because we haven't put any query strings in here to specify that we're looking for a employee, because the get method, the way that we have it set, will not be looking for a body. It is looking for the parameters. If you remember that video here, we can actually look, and it's looking for the parameters of first name, last name, and employee ID, but we didn't pass in anything. We passed in a body. So that is one thing to keep in mind if you are using the same URL across different route methods. It is very handy to make sure that you know which one you're trying to use, and just have the documentation there for your end users that are using this API. Now, if you're using the get, you're going to want to make sure that you put in a query string. If you're using post, make sure that you're using a body. But that is all covered usually in the documentation. Now that we've seen how to actually modify a endpoint here from one method to the next, let's go ahead and let's take all the different methods that are available to us in PowerShell Universal. So now let's go ahead and let's create endpoint, and I'm just going to cover the ones that I really use often, and I think that's most likely going to be the ones that most people are going to use, but they do give you quite a bit of options. Now again, as you noticed, it let us use a body with a get. In theory, you can use any of these methods for whatever you would like. Now, it is good to stay with what is the standard best practice for these methods. This way, when someone is going through your API documentation and they see that it's a get, they know that it's fetching information and it's not creating something. If it's a delete method, they know that it's going to delete something. Now, of course, you can make a delete method fetch you information. You can make it create information. That would be quite obfuscated and just general bad practice. You want to make it very easy for your end users to understand what your routes really do. And these methods really help kind of give one just a very quick notice of what does this do. So the standard ones that I think most people are really going to use is going to be the get method, which of course we've seen a lot, which is going to retrieve information from the server. Now this is standard, going to be usually the same output every single time. Now of course we've seen get methods with query strings and variables, but if you put in that same variable, you should always get the same response. That is the standard practice with the get method. Then we also have post. Now, post is typically used to create a resource on the server. So this would be used if you're doing this for an Active Directory route. It would be used for creating a user or creating a group. Now, also we have seen though that the best practice, if you're fetching information with a body, you would still typically use the post method. So post can be used for quite a few different things, usually specified within the documentation. Now, put is used to either update or replace something entirely. So if you're going in and you're updating an entire user, you're updating their first name, their last name, their email address, anything like that, you would use the put method. Now, typically also the put method, if it doesn't exist, it will also create it. That is something that is pretty typical of a put method. The delete method is, I think, pretty self-explanatory. It is used to delete something on the server. Now, patch is very similar to put, but it is usually only used to update a very specific subset of properties. So let's say you have an Active Directory endpoint system and you want to update a title on a user because they changed jobs. You would typically make something as a patch route to update their job or update their email address or update their password. That would typically be done through a patch route. Now, options is not used all that often from my perspective, but typically this would be used to return metadata of the route. Now, again, I don't think that this would be typically used. I think the ones that most people will really use is going to be the delete, post, and get. And then after that is going to be the put and patch. Now there is the other two methods of connect and trace. I wasn't able to find any documentation on these method names, and I have never used them in the past as well. If you have ever used these two methods, please let me know on what they're more commonly used for. But as I said, you can use these methods for anything that you would really actually ever use. So that is completely fine. So let's go ahead and let's just create a simple route here and then change the method one last time just to get some practice in here. So we're going to do the test URL as test put. We're going to put that as a put method. We're just going to take off the authentication, set our environment here, and let's go ahead and let's edit the code. And we're just going to say return. This is a test route. And we're going to hit save. And let's go ahead and let's copy that code and let's paste that into our Visual Studio Code. Hit run, we can see that it works. And if we go back and go into our endpoints, and let's go edit properties, let's change it from a put to a delete method here, and let's click OK. And once again, let's just hit that restart APIs. And it's just spinning and it's all done. So now if we hit run again here, we will see that it's not found. But if we change that to delete, we will see that this is a test route. So everything is working correctly. And now you guys know how to change a route from one method to the next and what the different methods are actually used for. Now in the next video, you've seen us uncheck the authentication multiple times now. In that next video, we're going to be taking a look at the authentication so we can protect routes, because there might be some routes that are quite sensitive and you only want a specific subset of users to be able to access them. We're going to see how we can lock down those routes with the authentication, as there are quite a few ways that we can use authentication with PowerShell Universal, and we're going to be taking a look at 3 of those. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Also, be sure to hit that notification bell to be notified when that next video comes out, and I will see you guys on the next video.